So, Facebook had a topic: why do people stop training naturally with weights and take steroids? And I wanted to know the question: what do people really prefer, the classic bodybuilding or modern day bodybuilding? Now, people might not quite understand the, the difference. See, the 80s changed a lot of things. The fitness industry was born, and if you're a Star Trek fan, you'll understand this reference. It was like the Borg, it was the collective. It collected all this knowledge about bodybuilding, and it knew that people are drones that they follow rather than being individuals. The fitness industry knew that, and so instead of calling it bodybuilding, they changed it, gave it different names like circuit training, P90 or whatever it's called, body pump, CrossFit. What's the newest one? Hydrox. They used all these new fancy names, and people were thinking, "Oh, this is new. This is brilliant." All it is just traditional bodybuilding, and they stole all those ideas, mixed it up, put a different name on it, gave it a new spin, launched it into a new name, and people are like, "Wow, this is great." And then you get elite people who are good at that specific thing, and they promote it because those people are good at that sport. And it's like, that's got to be the best, right? But also what happened in the 80s, bodybuilding died. What? I've never taken steroids. I've been around steroid bodybuilders, so I don't know all the names of the steroids. And I can't pronounce some of the things. But right up to the 70s, it was mainly Dilabol or something like that. I can't pronounce it, like I said. It was the only drug that bodybuilders were taking. And they were taking it by doctors were giving it to them, and they were only taking it during the time of the contest, getting ready for a contest. They never took it all year round. And the 80s changed everything. It was introducing of growth hormones, testosterone, insulin. There was this new injection of oil into muscles. People were taking, putting implants, and bodybuilding changed dramatically. The drugs were used all year round. It wasn't like they cycled on and off. It was constant, and it became about size and being ripped. That was what bodybuilding changed to, basically. It was if you didn't have 6% body fat and have a cartoon looking body, then you weren't a bodybuilder. So, and then we come to the internet generation, and all the young kids and influencers, you've got to have a certain look by, within 6 months of training, you've got to look like this certain look. So what do people really prefer? The classic bodybuilding, which people don't really understand anymore because the internet has destroyed all that, because people don't read books, don't understand that things happen before the internet. But the classic look is the lean look. You're around 12% body fat, the classic V shape, the small waist, small shoulders, flat stomach. It wasn't about big bulky muscles. You didn't have your glutes look like walnuts. It wasn't about being cut and ripped. It wasn't about size. It was about symmetry. It was about the art. It was about putting the hard work in, that it would take 5-10 years. It didn't matter. You put the hard work in, and it was always about health, longevity. It was about eating clean food. It wasn't about having dirty bulks. It wasn't about size. It was about that you were perfect condition year round. There was no, you know, when natural bodybuilders, there wasn't any steroids, that they were in perfect athlete look. A lot of people will nowadays look on that and say, well, they're too small, they're not big enough, they're not ripped enough, they're not got enough muscles. So what do people prefer? Don't they like the classic look? Do they want to look like a cartoon, you know, with a gut, you know, big gut, big waist, you know, thick muscles and looking like a cartoon rather than a human being? Do you really want to have the fact that you've got to have medication after your 30s and your 40s, that you've got to have sexual medication because your libido's gone, your sex drive's gone, you can't have children because your semen count is gone, that you've got to have all these other medications to keep you alive? Do you think that's really worth looking bulky and cartoony, where a classic physique that you can be athletic, you can be strong, you can be healthy, you don't have to worry about going on diets because you're in perfect condition year round? What do you prefer, the classic or the modern day yuck? Tell me what you think.